David?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I'll try to get right to the issue. I could talk about this forever, but you're talking about funding for the arts. So yes, maintain the traditional sources of funding. You got to just make it a priority. We just had another conversation in another forum, and the guy asked a question. It was really great, but he was like, here's a priority that we have for substance abuse treatment and stuff like that. But if the funding isn't there, then what do you do? And I go like, no, switch it around. If it's a priority, you find the funding for it. It doesn't not become a priority because you didn't get that grant this year, or the funding wasn't there this year, maybe next year. If it's a priority first, then that's kind of that frames the entire way we look at it. And I was just saying, and then be non-traditional with the way that we look at arts. So we have art in our lives everywhere, and government is a huge supporter of the arts. Whether you look at Washington D.C., you look at sculptures, you look at the paintings. Just here in Connecticut, you look at the Beehive Bridge. They didn't have to build that bridge to make it look like a beehive with honeycombs in New Britain, but there's a sense of artistic necessity that comes out. You got the Wyndham Frog Bridge. You got these great sculptures of frogs on these bridges, and when you do that, it transforms something from a necessity, a utility, to something that really is reflective of the community. And that's what art does. And that's why government support of art and artists is so important. So look for the non-traditional. Connecticut just, they hired, with the pandemic, they hired this outside group to do PR for Massachusetts. And you were talking about, your artists, your group, it includes, designers and digital. And the way I look at it is hire those people here first, instead of spending money in Massachusetts, or if you're going to hire a firm, make sure they get the talent, from here, so that if we're facing a crisis like we are at the pandemic, we put our artists to work here and now when we need them. And that's the way I kind of look at things, just non-traditional. You got a project, you're going to build a building or a bridge or rehab, a school, bring the artist on board to collaborate and include them in the budget so that it becomes more than just the utilitarian.